How's your time management? Answer each of these questions with one of the following responses: often, sometimes, rarely. Do you handle each piece of paperwork or emails only once? Do you begin and finish projects on time? Do people know the best time to reach you? Do you do something every day that moves you closer to your long-range goals? When you are interrupted, can you return to your work without losing momentum? Do you deal effectively with long-winded callers? Do you focus on preventing problems before they arise rather than solving them after they happen? Do you meet deadlines with time to spare? Are you on time to work, to meetings, and to events? Do you delegate well? Do you write daily to-do, must-do lists? Do you finish all the items on your to-do list? Do you update in writing your professional and personal goals? Is your desk or workspace clean and organized? Can you easily find items in your files? How's your time management? Referring back to the 15 questions listed on the previous slides, we have provided you with some suggestions for excelling in the specific areas. Do you handle each piece of paperwork or emails only once? People often neglect to recognize the effect of what is commonly referred to as compounding. The topic of compounding is usually only related to money and its accumulation over time with the multiplication factor of interest. However, when you physically handle, read, and then subsequently reread the same document or email message, you are compounding wasted time. To minimize waste and have more time for activities that produce results, you should only handle or view, physically for paper and virtually for emails and other electronic documents, once or as few times as possible. Therefore, whenever you receive anything in paper or electronic form, ask yourself this question: is it necessary for me to keep this? If no, then recycle, shred, or delete immediately. If yes, is it something that I need to act on soon or immediately? If yes, then place it into a to-do list or file. If no, is it something that I need to keep a record of for future reference? Then file it accordingly. Or do I need to pass this on to someone else? Then do so. Mail it, hand deliver it, and get it off your plate. Do you begin and finish projects on time? The response to this question says a great deal about your personality, character, habits, discipline, and whether you can be counted on and trusted with deadlines, projects, and time-sensitive matters. If you struggle in this area, it is possible that you either don't set a high enough priority in your mind or that you don't allow enough time and plan accordingly in order to be able to complete assignments in a timely fashion. Depending on the severity of this issue, it may have cost you dearly and added a great deal of unnecessary stress and anguish to your life. This will negatively impact your professional reputation and may even create ill will in some of your relationships, especially when other people are counting on you so that they're able to fulfill their time obligations to others. It is likely that you have had bad habits in this regard for some time. You need to develop some new habits and discipline yourself to get projects completed on time or ahead of schedule. Do people know the best time to reach you? How you respond to this question is an indication of how well you communicate with others and keep them in the loop with regard to your whereabouts. When you leave messages, it is important to provide enough detail that people know when and how to reach you and what number is best during those time slots. Internally, with your coworkers, you should let them know what your plans are, where you will be, and what is the best method and/or number to reach you at while you are away from the office. This way, no one is left hanging if they need to speak or make contact with you? Do you do something every day that moves you closer to your long-range goals? Your response to this question can go in a couple of directions. For some people, the response would first of all raise the question or concern as to whether or not they actually have long-term goals. In order to shorten up the response, let's assume that you do have long-range goals. Taking some form of action, no matter how small, towards your long-term goals every day is an indication of how serious and committed you are to those goals. If they are a priority to you, you are really serious about them, and you believe that you can make them happen, then you will strive towards their accomplishment. You must make them a priority and understand that a little bit every day can make a difference. Once again, the compounding effect will work in your favor. When you are interrupted, can you return to your work without losing momentum? How you respond to this question is an indication of how strong your focus is. If you know that distractions or interruptions pull you off course and impact your momentum, you must do whatever you can to minimize or eliminate them, because the fewer that there are, the less of a concern this will be. This alone isn't the remedy, however. You must learn to take measures that will help improve your ability to draw your focus back to the task at hand quickly. For instance, when an interruption is at hand, before addressing it, you should learn to make a mental note or even a physical note of where you are or what you are working on. This way, you protect yourself and make it easier to jump back into gear quicker. In addition to this, you should remember to exercise your brain by doing more reading, working on puzzles, and doing games of concentration. This expands your mental capacity to handle more so that you are better armed for juggling of the mind. Do you deal effectively with long-winded callers? The secret to managing long-winded callers is to shorten the conversation in a tactful and respectful manner so you don't burn any bridges. Get to know who the long-winded callers are. Keep in mind that they don't likely set a high priority on their time. That's why they're able to be long-winded. If they are people that you must speak with, an account or coworker for instance, and listening to them is important to the relationship, try to gain more control when you speak to them or set the time on your terms. Make sure that you give them a chance to chat occasionally without cutting them off, or you may annoy or upset them. If you see their name come up on the call display, check your watch and make a judgment call as to whether or not you should even answer them. If you answer the call or you have to contact them, have an exit strategy and state it early in the call. Here are some examples of what you could say. I've only got 5 minutes. I need to make this quick. I must get this information to department or person right away. I know that you're probably busy and I'm just on my way to an appointment. You must also have a sense of urgency in your voice. Do you focus on preventing problems before they arise, rather than solving them after they happen? An individual who solves problems after they happen on a frequent basis can be referred to as a crisis manager. This is discussed in further detail in these materials. The secret is to dig deeper when you encounter issues and get to the root of the matter rather than provide band-aid solutions. In addition, you must take a sincere interest in preventative measures prior to problems arising. Although this requires an upfront investment of time, it can save greater amounts of time down the road, not to mention the harm that it can prevent. It is purely a matter of being focused on the needs of your accounts. Do you meet deadlines with time to spare? The response to the second question would apply here as well. The response to this question says a great deal about your personality, character, habits, discipline, and whether you can be counted on and trusted with deadlines, projects, and time-sensitive matters. If you struggle in this area, it is possible that you either don't set a high enough priority in your mind or that you don't allow enough time and plan accordingly in order to be able to complete assignments in a timely fashion. Depending on the severity of this issue, it may have cost you dearly and added a great deal of unnecessary stress and anguish to your life. This will negatively impact your professional reputation and may even create ill will in some of your relationships, especially when other people are counting on you so that they're able to fulfill their time obligations to others. It is likely that you have had bad habits in this regard for some time. You need to develop some new habits and discipline yourself to get the projects completed on time or ahead of schedule. There is deep and profound wisdom in this quote by Harv Eckert. How you do anything is how you do everything. Are you on time to work, to meetings, and to events? How you responded to this question is a reflection of the priority that you set on actual time. It is an indicator of how well you plan ahead and make accommodations for any stalls or delays that may prevent you from arriving at your destination on or ahead of schedule. In addition, it may be an indication of how important you think you are in comparison to others, or the esteem and respect that you have for their time and schedule. If you have challenges showing up on time, you must allow more time to ensure that you arrive at your destination on schedule. You must learn to plan ahead and elevate your thinking about traffic, weather conditions, etc. You must understand that chronic lateness is disrespectful and has an extremely harmful impact on your reputation. Being consistently late is unacceptable and has to stop. Do you delegate well? This topic is also discussed in greater detail further in these materials. Spreading the load by delegating is a wonderful way to accomplish more in less time. Proper delegation requires a willingness to relinquish your trust to others. You must make sure that you set people up for success when delegating. Clear communication is vital, and ensuring that they are capable of handling the assignment in the required time frame is a must. Do you write daily to-do, must-do lists? For people who have little to do or someone else telling them what needs to be done, there isn't a need for to-do lists. However, if you are a busy person with many different responsibilities on your plate, a to-do list is a must. You must discipline yourself to write tasks, assignments, and associated thoughts down. Then they must be prioritized. If you are not doing this, then you are relying on your memory too heavily and likely making emotional decisions about the completion of tasks. The busier you are and the more responsibilities that you have, the more you risk forgetting something important or doing less important tasks ahead of priorities. This will eventually come back to create issues which are totally avoidable. Do you finish all the items on your to-do list? If the response to this question is sometimes or rarely, then it is possible that you are adding unnecessary tasks to your list or that you are procrastinating items. Having tasks on your list that you are not committed to negatively impacts your psyche. You mentally beat up on yourself by continuing to delay or procrastinate the tasks. You are only faking yourself out if you have no intention of completing a task. Therefore, do not add tasks to your list that you do not complete. For the tasks that remain on your list, prioritize them and complete them in order. This way you will get them done and avoid procrastination and emotional decision-making. Do you update in writing your professional and personal goals? How you responded to this question is an indicator of your continuous commitment to the priority and urgency that you place on your time. If your goals are important to you, then you are constantly reviewing and refreshing them. Highly goal-oriented sales professionals who keep their goals current will always be more cognizant of their allocation of time. They understand that how they invest their time will directly relate to the achievement of their goals. Is your desk, workspace clean and organized? Your response to this question can also be a reflection of your personality makeup and personal disciplines. Discipline is required to stay on top of potential messes. Disorganization and chaos usually happens over a time period, not typically in a single day. The fact is, it takes an investment of time to keep yourself organized and maintain cleanliness. People who do this naturally don't need to be told or trained. Those who struggle with this Don't place a high priority on cleanliness and organization. A no response to this question is an indication of an individual who may not understand the negative impact that this can have on their mental frame of mind, how they are perceived by others, and how it can cost them financially. If you have or ever allow your personal situation to get out of control, you must invest the time to get things back into an orderly state. Even better, pick up and clean up after yourself as you go to avoid a compounded mess. If you're not sure how to go about this, ask someone else in your office who excels in this area. Can you easily find items in your files? The purpose of a filing system is to make the retrieval of information quick and easy. This question could refer to both physical and electronic files. Do you have or use file folders? If not, begin. Label your folders in a manner that makes it easy for retrieval and be consistent. If you are using last names, use last names throughout. Once you have file folders in place, use them. Immediately file physical and electronic documents as soon as you receive them, which relates back to question 1. Staple multi-page documents together in page order and do the same with any documents that are interlinked or related to each other. Always have or make multiple copies of any documents that you may require that are also needed by other individuals or departments. Learning Spotlight number 2. It's time to review what we've covered so far. Each question in the quiz has a 90-second time limit, and the quiz has a 15-minute time limit. You cannot pause the quiz once you begin. The quiz includes many types of questions, including true or false, drag and drop, multiple answers, etc. Read the questions carefully and make sure you understand what is being asked before submitting your response. Many of the questions or variations of them will be included in the final exam. You will be graded, and the passing grade for the quiz is 70%. You will have 3 chances to attain a passing grade. If you fail to attain a passing grade after 3 attempts, you will be locked out of the course. You will have an opportunity to review the quiz responses upon successful completion. If you wish to review the previous slides and sections, do so before advancing. Upon completion of the quiz, please click on the green Next button with the white arrow in order to advance to the next step in the learning path. This concludes step number 3 of the learning path. Please click on the green Next button with the white arrow in order to advance when you are ready to proceed.